Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the new Nigeria is possible. Now, good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Once again, we're here today to have discussions on the things that are happening in Nigeria. We're going to be taking just 3 things so that we can make this our discussion to go straight to the point. We have the Kanu State Judicial Service Commission has taken disciplinary actions against 8 judicial staff members over misconduct. We are talking about 2 justices, we are talking about magistrates, and other staff members who has committed. And we're going to discuss why are they not being tried in court but being just sacked. That we'll be talking about today. And again, there is news coming out, reports that the Rivers State Governor, Similaye Fubara, has announced his plans to present the 2025 budget to the Victor Okojumbo-led State House of Assembly, while Wike is busy in Abuja finding other ways to stop it from happening. We will be talking that also. And of course, we have somebody from the VCO Foundation, that is the Valentine Ozigbo Foundation, who is here to share with us what they are doing for the Obidient movement support groups and the endorsement the support group has given to Chief Valentine Ozigbo, who is their principal. And I'm not the only one to have this very discussion. I have Angel in the studio, and of course, we have active Nigerians on Zoom who are joining us to have this discussion.
Good day, my well-meaning active citizens and obedient worldwide. Welcome. Tell your neighbor, say hope day, but not in our leaders or in our politicians, but in God. Peter Obi donate another 50 million to Peters University Achina in Anambra State. Welcome on board. Let's discuss.
Yes, talking about Peter Obi's donation is just all over the place. Just last week, we were talking about another 50 million that went to, I think, Niger University on the Niger. Yeah. But this time around, we are talking, I think, Peter University. Some people are saying it's personal university, but no, it's not. And he went to another nursing school again and did another 10 million again, totaling 60 million. Peter Obi's money seems not to, it's not finishing anytime.
No, he's encouraging education.
Education in our strategy. Of course, you can go to Peter Obi's timeline on X and read all what he had to say about that. But as we move into this very discussion, let's start with what is happening in Kanu State, where the Kanu State Judicial Service Commission has taken disciplinary actions against 8 judicial staff members over misconduct. 8 judicial staff members. This was announced in a statement signed by the spokesperson for the Kanu State Judiciary, Babajubri Ibrahim, on Sunday, being yesterday. The Judiciary Service Commission, on that very 76 meeting held in November 4th, considered petitions against the judiciary staff and other 2 court registers to go on compulsory retirement. These sections, as they say, are Magistrate Nasser Ado, Alkali Yusuf Kawu, Sanusi Usman, and so many of them. But, Angel, to be precise, I also heard, whether you call it rumors, that the people who, the judiciary officers who affirmed Chief Bola Tinubu, that some of them passed away. But I kind of doubted that because, in the past, several news keep circulating that the justices who made injustice to Nigerians has lost their lives. But I think that might be a fake news because...
it might not be, and I pray it doesn't be fake because prayers of the masses will surely come to them.
But we want them to feel the pain.
Exactly.
But while they are feeling the pain, we see that their salaries have been increased 300%. How are they going to feel the T-pain? Anyway, let's get the views of our followers. Mr. Bassi, let's start with this very issue of Kanu State. 8 judiciary staff, judges, magistrates sacked over improper, because I heard that even people who were sentenced were actually relieved from conviction. They collected money, bribe, and then they released. Some of them different allegations. Why are they not being brought in another court for a proper criminal prosecution? What is your thought, Mr. Bassi?
Thank you, Mr. Kanu, and good evening. Thanks for having me. Good evening, Angel, and good evening, my fellow Zoom panelists. Good day, Obidient and listeners across the world, wherever you are listening from. My take in this is that I hope this is not just, they are not being used as scapegoat to score some political points. Because when you look at some of the issues going on in Kanu State in particular, there have been some people pitching their camp with some Ganduje and then some the current governor and Kwankwaso. I hope they are not just being used as scapegoat and trying to be ridiculed. If truly they have been found wanting and they deserve to be shown the way out, because our judiciary in recent time have suffered a lot of knock by some of these unscrupulous judges. But again, it is not just good enough, just like you said, to relieve them of their duties. They should be made to face justice, so that they need to account for their stewardship while they were serving in that offices. And if truly they are being found wanting, of course, appropriate consequences should be meted out to them. Another angle to this is that I don't also want to be carried away by the issues that are happening in Kanu. I had expected such a sanitization to start from the Federal High Court, because that's where we are having a lot of issues. And starting from the state high judiciary, I don't think is the way to go. Let's deal with this issue from the Federal High Court, where we have been having a lot of funny judgment coming out of those places, especially the FCT. And if that is done, it will be a step in the right direction. But again, let's not raise our hope too high, because we know some of the people that are in charge of the helm of the affair. We don't want to believe that they want to do the right thing, because there are indices to show that they are not willing to do the right thing. They just want to, vote and gaslight Nigerians. That's what it is. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. What I was actually pointing at is the fact that they just keep talking about sacking the judicial staff and but not bringing them to account. My expectation is that people who commit bribery offense, people who do such things are brought before the court, tried before the court, and convicted for them to go. But for them to just, relieve them of their duties simply mean that, anybody who commits crime should not even go through the court system. Are they immune from being prosecuted?
Absolutely not. But the Nigerian situation, when they don't want to punish people, they subject them under investigation. And that's usually the case. Look at the case of Beta Edu. Who has heard of that case again? It has died. So that's how it has always been. They will say, okay, they are under investigation. While you are there, you are either suspended or you are being relieved of your duty. And at the end of the day, nobody hears the outcome of such investigation to know if these people were found culpable or not. But like I said, it is just the way it is. Let's not be carried away by this. And let's hope that someday we will have the right set of people who will mount our judiciary and restore back the confidence and the integrity of that institution. Thank you.
Okay, all right. But before I let you quickly bring in what is happening at your doorstep, at your backyard in Rivers State, there is reports that the Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara is about to present the 2025 budget to the Victor Oko Jumbo-led State House of Assembly. And of course, you know, just a few weeks ago, Federal High Court in Abuja said that even the previous one of 2024 that was presented was wrong and should not, you know, be accommodated. And they are appealing that. So going back to Oko Jumbo, do you think is the right way for SIM to go? And of course, we, you know, given the fact that this is your background over there in Rivers State, you understand the scenario of what is playing out. Can you tell us what is going on in Sim Fubara's mind and the minds of the Rivers State people? Because I see a lot of comments, reactions coming from Rivers people that, of course, that very particular event should go on and that he should present that very budget to the Victor Jumbo's led House of Assembly.
Once again, you know, I've always said that Nigerian politicians are the most optimistic human being in the surface of the earth. You see, what has just happened in Rivers State is another round of crisis. And you know, guys they are not tired of creating this crisis. Like I've always said, at the end of the day, the citizens that are suffering the effect of this fight between the camps in Rivers State. I would expect that the governor haven't been told by the court to go back and represent the 2024 appropriation bill. Should have taken steps to set aside that judgment. But rather than setting aside the judgment, they keep acting on impunity, disregard to the rule of law. No matter how faulty a judgment is, the order of the court must be obeyed. But here we are, the actors in Rivers State are acting on impunity, the total disregard to the rule of law between both parties that are in at Daggerhead, at Loggerhead. What I'm saying is that if you say these guys are not the legitimate, they've lost their legitimacy as the House of Assembly member. Has anybody made has any court made a pronouncement to validate this? No. But you see, these guys have also been going about procuring judgment in their favor. Even though we all know that these guys they don't have the legitimacy, but the court has conveyed that legitimacy on them. So how do we deal with this situation? You see, it is also unfortunate that even the court, in considering some of these things, should have considered the legitimacy of these guys first. That should have been the foremost decision. But that was never done. So they left that in abeyance and begin to pursue other issues. Getting judgment, this one is getting judgment, the other group is getting judgment. At the end of the day, they are confusing the Rivers people. And in the long run, it is the governance that is suffering in that state. So what I would expect the governor to do is that he has, like you said, he has just started another phase of crisis, because even before the other one has not been resolved. The new one has started. So let us look forward to another comedy scene in Rivers State. That's what is going to happen. You know, they'll begin to go to forum shopping in various courts. This one will get his own judgment. The one will get his own. At the end of the day, this is what is going to happen. But one thing I also would commend Pobra is that I stumbled on a report over the weekend that point to the fact that the state has been fiscally responsible in their revenue generation. You remember that their budget for 2024 was about 800 billion. But from that report, both internally and FAC allocation, they've been able to raise about 750 or 780 billion. I mean, that is, awesome. It's incredible. It therefore shows that before now, Rivers people's resources were being mismanaged. That's what this clearly shows. And Fubra has been actually very prudent, even though he's been also wasteful in making careless donation. You go to event and you begin to donate money rather than looking at how to better the life of the people. You start going from one church, donating money from here to the other. But overall, he has been prudent at least he has blocked most of those leakages. This is also the reason why he's being confronted with this fight, this battle, because he has blocked some people access to finance of the Rivers people. So they have to fight him tooth and nail to ensure that they get him out of the way. So that is what it is. The fight in Rivers is actually about, it's not about the structure per se, but it's about who controls the finances of Rivers State. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That's it. Let's, from Rivers State, let's quickly jump to Anambra State, where, of course, on Saturday they had what is called the Good Governance Symposium 2024, where they are charting a new course for the Obidient movement in the Southeast, held in Onitsha, Anambra State. In that very symposium, Angel, the Obidient movement reiterated its commitment to advancing accountability and transparency in governance across Nigeria. They have a 7-point communique issued at the conclusion of the one-day Good Governance Symposium to chart a new course for the Obidient movement in the Southeast. And of course, the Obidient movement expressed its unwavering resolve to bid farewell to the bad governance in Nigeria. And of course, we are going to bring you the highlights of this very particular communique. But we have with us here today Princess Okechukwu, who is, of course, from the VCO Foundation. So, and VCO Foundation happens to be one of the sponsors of that very event. But before we bring her to speak on that very event and what the VCO Foundation is doing in Anambra State, we want to bring the highlights of that very event. One, they said the collaboration with the Anambra State support groups of the Obidient movement is that the partnership facilitated by the symposium aimed at strengthening and repositioning the movement for a greater impact and strategic development. Number two, they say repositioning the Obidient movement for greater impact means a renewed focus on enhancing the movement's influence and reach. 3, formalization and restructuring. Under the leadership of Dr. Tanko Yunusa, the Obidient movement is focused on unifying efforts and streamlining its structures for comprehensive progress. Now, the reinforcement of organizational structures, Dr. Tanko emphasized on aligning the movement's mission to promote social and political cohesion, ethical leadership, and purpose-driven advocacy. And it goes on and on: harmonization, restructuring, unified purpose, and all of that. But of course, we know that the Obidient movement, did on that Saturday express their sincere gratitude to Valentine Chinedu Ozigbo Foundation for their sponsorship, which was instrumental in making the event a success. And that was what Dr. Yunusa Tanko said on Saturday. Now, joining us to speak more about what the VCO Foundation is doing and what their principal, Chief Valentine Ozigbo, is gearing up, helping the communities and moving forward to what he called Kanambara Chawapo. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Princess Okechukwu from the VCO Foundation to give us insight in all of this. Princess, you're welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Okay, I think we just lost Princess. We're hoping that she will be joining us again to have a discussion on this. But let me quickly get to, I think Tony is with us. Tony, can you hear me, Mr. Tony? Okay. Okay, Princess is back. Let her tell us what VCO is. They have floods ravaged in several localities in Anambra State where VCO has gone to help them. We highlighted that some days back, but I think Princess will happen to be in the best position to tell us what they have been doing in the communities in collaboration with the Obidient movement in Anambra State. So, Princess. Yeah, welcome, and you're okay. Can you switch your video is on portrait? Can you just switch it so that people can see you clearly? But go ahead while you are doing that so that the audience, our viewers, will know who is talking and where it's coming from. We'll use the other things that we have going forward. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, great. My name is Princess Okechukwu, as I've been introduced previously, and I'm the Programs and Community Manager for the Valentine Chinedu Ozigbo Foundation, also known as the VCO Foundation. Well, the VCO Foundation was actually established in 2015, and since then, our founder, Valentine Chinedu Ozigbo, has used it to touch the lives of over 100,000 indigents and non-indigents that reside within Anambra State. Through different programs such as leadership conferences, youth development programs, entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. So with the Obidient Movement Good Governance Symposium, we saw it as a great opportunity to continue to do the good work of leadership conferences. And it was actually a very amazing event. There were so many talks about the need to reinstall democracy, and so on and so forth. The symposium was held on Saturday. But before Saturday, we did have a good number of outreaches that we conducted as well. These particular outreaches were directed at victims of flooding in certain communities within Anambra State of recent. The first of all, we started off on Thursday. On Thursday, we went to Anambra East and Anambra West. We went to Umweza Anambra West local government area and Enugu Aguleri. When we were in Umweze, it was such a heartbreaking thing to witness because a lot of the citizens and the indigents were complaining about how the floods destroyed their businesses because the flood actually happened near their markets, the Nkwo markets in Umweze. So a lot of people's businesses, their structures were crumbled. That community also belongs to a lot of those that do fishery, that they fish and they use boats to move around their produce. And unfortunately, many of them lost their boats, and there were complaints that this loss of properties and the business items has actually increased the crime rates in Umweze. So many youths are lacking in things to do, and other people's businesses have been destroyed, like I mentioned before. So in our outreach, we helped them with multiple cartons of noodles, detergents, bathing soaps, and the cash support. However, the bigger picture of the outreach was to also shed light for other individuals within Anambra State and those in diaspora of Anambra origin, of Umazanam origin, and concerned individuals at large, to get more attention and direct more funds to them so that even down the line, they can also develop their structures back into place. But most importantly, we also do need to highlight the fact that issues like this don't need to be a yearly occurrence. We have had so many opportunities for these problems, like things that could curb the flooding, or at least things that could protect the citizens better, maybe informing them on time, creating emergency allotments for them, and generally doing things to improve the scaping and the direction of the water. So these activities were also carried out in Enugu Agulere, where we went to the palace of His Majesty Eze Dr. Chukwuemeka Eri of Obugad Palace, where after congratulating him on the success of the Eri Festival, we also had to give out some outreach materials because the people of Eri were also affected by these flooding incidences. Then on Friday, we went to the next location, which was Obaro Federal Constituency. And it was the same case in Obaro Federal Constituency. Many individuals have become internally displaced. They have to stay with friends. Some of them were placed in the community secondary school in Obaro Federal Constituency because their houses were destroyed by the flooding. And so they were complaining about these as problems and as well as their damage, because they also suffered damage of their boats that they use for fishing and what have you. So this has really dug a hole in the lives of a lot of Anambra, and the VCO Foundation, in collaboration with some Obidient movement groups such as the Anambra Needs Valentine Board, the NNPO, and other groups, will come together to put as much as we can into helping individuals in these communities. The VCO Foundation has also run a good number of programs before now with regards to students, with regards to sports, sponsorships, and scholarships, tech scholarships. And like I mentioned, with the Obidient Symposium for Good Governance, the leadership conferences as well. So this is a quick rundown of all the activities we've carried out of recent.
Thank you very much for that. We hope that moving forward, that the VCO Foundation will be collaborating much more with the Obedience in Anambra State and all the support groups, so that we look towards whether the Labour Party or any other party that your principal chooses, so that his desire to Anambra Chawapo, which is his slogan, will come to fruition. Do also inform your principal that we'll be expecting him to, to visit, to join us on this program moving forward, so that he can tell Obedience what his preparations are for the forthcoming 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. So thank you very much, Princess Okechukwu, for being with us today. And of course, we'll be inviting you much later before the week runs out again to tell us other programs that you have, since it is a weekly activity that the VCO Foundation is now taking up in Anambra State. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's get to Mr. Tony. Tony, let's get back to the issue which has to deal with the sack of the judicial officers and, of course, the brouhaha and the shenanigans happening in River State. Just like Mr. Bassi has made his point, I also want to have your opinion on the sacked judicial officers. And my question is, and continue to be, why, if judicial officer, judges, magistrates, now when they are caught in an action and whether National Judicial Commission has found out that there is a misconduct, why are they not being brought back to court, tried, and then be sentenced to go to the same prison that they do send people to go? That's one of the questions. Then the other one has to deal with Fubara's presentation of 2025 budget. Because of time, I want you to answer on this very two. I believe that several people has voiced their interest in what is happening in Rivers State, and of course Angel here said that she believes that Fubara is doing the right thing because she believes that those three people are the authentic people as far as Fubara is concerned. What is your take?
Thank you, Mr. Kanu, for having me. I think the Kanu situation is a good start. I say it's a good start because at least there is some action taking place. But looking at what goes on in this country, where criminal elements are superficially treated with kids' gloves, while they go against kids with computers, and then they give them the harshest punishment, while the political elite, the politicians, the judiciary, and the civil service, those that commit crimes usually go free. But I say this, that this is a good start. At least they don't have a job as of this moment. I wish they could go further if they actually committed this crime and then prosecute them. Let's take this and let others see it as an example of what could happen to anybody that indulges in that sort of activity. Now, the CJN is also investigating, getting a report about the state and the federal judiciary officers. And I hope she can learn from the Kanu state action and then be more strict and punish those that have messed up the judiciary in this country, because they've actually messed up the judiciary, even though she's saying that just a few are guilty of messing up the judiciary. It's not just a few. There's so many of them, and they have a way of collecting money from politicians. So I think they should do a thorough job if they actually need to cleanse the judicial system in this country. Coming to Fubara and the River State palaver, they cannot hamstring the guy from performing his job. He should go ahead and present the budget, if that's the process. Otherwise, let him just go ahead and spend the money, because you see, it's the state's money. I don't think any judge has the right to hamstring him. And I mean, just look at what some of these judges are doing. Some of them are actually disobeying Supreme Court pronouncements themselves. How can the Supreme Court rule that you cannot withhold a state FAC allocation, whether it's local government or the state itself? And the judge will come up and say, don't do it. Don't give them their money. That's the disobedience of the Supreme Court. So, I mean, it's just a mess throughout our judicial system. It's a mess. So let the guy go ahead and do the needful. Let him go and present the budget, like Kenny said. And I think I mentioned it before. They've not actually ruled. In fact, they shouldn't even rule, because the Supreme Court has already made the judgment that if you get elected under a party and you switch parties after the election, you automatically lose your seats. So what INEC should have done is go ahead and conduct the election without waiting for the judiciary to tell them to do the needful. The Constitution is clear. The Constitution is clear. The Supreme Court judgment is clear. What is the problem? It gives room to people going from one court to the other to obtain favorable judgments. And that's what has been going on here. So if I were Fubara, I'm not going to wait and see what the court says about 2025 budget. The 2024 is already gone. They can't represent that budget. It's already spent. How can you go and represent a budget that is already being spent and some of the money has already been spent? So it doesn't make sense.
Tony,
yeah.
Talking about budget, before the week runs out, if not tomorrow, I want us to start presenting the budgets of last year, which is 2024 budget that is due to constituencies. And I want to start with Enugu State, where you are. I hope that the people, our own people in different constituencies over there, will support us to bring out the constituency projects that are domiciled all in their local communities that has not been executed, because we have been able to isolate all the budgets from the 2024 constituency projects said to be executed. Some of them said to be ongoing, some of them new projects, but reports coming from different local governments in Enugu State, where you are, suggest that such projects are not existing in those locations, and we want to know why. So I believe that between tomorrow or next, we from here should start projecting those projects, and then you can analyze it for us whether those projects are existing, or at least reach out to the communities where these projects are, so that we can start calling out the senators, the House of Rep members who are supposedly to overseeing this project, because I think they call it their oversight functions. So we start highlighting it before they bring more budgets, as we are talking about the budgeting issue. Don't you agree to that?
Well, we are really working hard on that to see what we can come up with. But you might be surprised that some of the findings so far is kind of a little weird, where you have supposedly constituency project.
I want to get that Enugu people, we want us to expose the constituency projects that boils into hundreds of millions, that goes into billions, that are not executed. Do the Enugu State people want us to open it up so that we can start this week? We start showing Nigerians what those labor people whom Obidient brought in to do projects in their community that will benefit not just the Obidient, but all their communities that they have not done so. I want to know if the Obidient and the people of Enugu State want us to expose those fraudulent projects that is existing in Enugu State.
Well, like I said before, we are working on it, local government by local government, and hopefully we'll be able to get some results very soon.
All right, thank you very much on that. Our time is very, very fast going, but let me get your take on P2B donating 50 million to Peter University at China and another 10 million naira to one college of nursing. Don't you think that P2B is spending so much? I hope we have something to run for 2027.
Doing that, and actually he said it's not expenditure, but investment in education.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he knows what he's doing. And I'm sure he knows that he's going to need some resources to actually structure the Obidient movement and make it viable in 2027. And that needs some cash to do that. Now, hopefully, he will get some support. But what he's doing is just coming out of his heart. It's who he is. And I'm sure he knows that there is some work somewhere waiting to be done. When that time comes, let's see what he will do. And others also. Let's see what others will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony, for making out your time to be with us, and of course we thank Mr. Bassi on that angel. Just like we know that you spoke about His Excellency P2B donation, and of course we know that he said that no nation develops without a healthy and educated workforce. But at the same time, we just hope that these donations are going in the right direction.
Exactly.
And also the fact that these people, let's also hope that they are obedient when it comes to 2027.
Of course they will. Yeah, they will be obedient all the way, because our PO loves education, and those he's supporting also love education. I don't think anybody will not say, oh, I did not like education, because education moves the nation.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they are obedient.
Of course, most people are obedient.
They are obedient, okay.
Yes.
Now our time is up, and I want to have your own say on this as we wrap up.
Yeah, about the judiciary, they don't want to prosecute their members because they don't want to wash their dirty linen in public. But I would like them to extend that sack to federal judiciary, because many of them are corrupt. Not even few, many of them are corrupt. Because if they are not corrupt, Wike will not be pocketing most of them, giving this kind of kangaroo justice that are given in Rivers State. Under few seconds, under few minutes, they have given judgment. It doesn't make sense. They need to allow Fubara to work. And I believe and I hope and I'm happy that Fubara is doing his best.
Yeah, but India, another thing again is, I don't know if you've noticed that APC have started planning against Ondo State. Because just today, this morning, I got a report that the IGP, that is Inspector General of Police, has banned Omotekun. That is the other arm of some vigilante security group in Ondo State. The same thing happened in Edo State. They practically wiped out the people in Edo State from, participating in their security. They deployed the army, they deployed the police. At the end of the day, they rigged Edo election. It is the same thing that is happening in the same. And Ganduje said they are going to replicate the same thing in Ondo State and Anambra State. So it's now happening in Ondo State. So, when we talk about judicial, it reminds me about, when you finish the tell you go to court.
Exactly.
Because it's still Mahmoud Yakubu that is there. So, Omotekun out, all the other forces out, and the army and the police will be there to rig that election for APC. That is what we see that is going to play out in that place. But anyway, I just said, let me bring that up as a final...
And forcing candidates on people doesn't make sense. You allow them vote.
It's not democracy.
What is election for? It's not, if not to vote.
People.
Yes, let the people vote who they want to rule over them. Not forcing people on them. It doesn't make sense.
And recall, in Rivers State, not just to take your time, but in Rivers State the other day, when they had their local government election, the police said they were not going to participate in that election. We saw a free and fair conduct of an election. Exactly. There was not much violence in Rivers State. Even when the police said, oh, they are not bringing their hands in, they are not in and all that. It also happened in Kanu State. There was no violence. So, but now police is saying, Omotekun security, go off. All the security agencies go off. What does that tell you? They want to rig it.
Yeah, they want to smash the ballot boxes.
Well, it's entirely up to the people of Ondo State, the way they want to take it. But let's hear your final take.
Yeah, Fubara is working, no distraction. Fubara should be focused so that all the Wike and APC shenanigans will not get to him, because Rivers people need that dividends of democracy in their state. Thank you so much, my people. Like, share, subscribe. Let other Obedience know what's going on. Mr. Bassi, Mr. Tony, thank you so much. We appreciate you. God bless you. Princess, thank you for coming with us. We appreciate you. My people, my obedient, my active citizens, we appreciate you for being with us. Thank you so much. We love you, but God loves you more. Bye for now.